the big conqueror, conqueror. So just show me a red, let we hot up them head now. Let me see who vote in Labour. Everybody show four finger. If you know Ralph is the best man, wave your red rock for the red man. Eustace him not ready yet, just like the dead we ever ready get. If you think NDP dumb bad, everybody dance like the comrade. Comrade, comrade.
Comrade, President and political leader of the St. Lucia Labour Party. My comrade, former Prime Minister of St. Lucia and former leader of the party, Kenny Anthony. My former colleague Prime Minister, who sits as an independent and in the cabinet currently of St. Lucia, a man from Canawant, Stephenson King. I want to send greetings to my comrade Julian Hunt, who may be listening, but whom I understand is not well. All the best to him and his family. I greet all the comrades who are representatives, who are in Parliament, who are in the cabinet, the chairpersons of the various constituency councils, and all the warriors of Labour who are present here as delegates and who are outside and who are across St. Lucia, at home and abroad. A special greeting to the members of the diplomatic corps, including our comrades from Cuba and Venezuela, and our dear friend from the Republic of China, Taiwan. I bring you warm fraternal greetings from the Unity Labour Party of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I also brought with me as representatives of our party 3 of our young parliamentarians, 3 wonderful young ladies, all of them splendid professionals. Ashel is the Deputy Speaker of the House of Assembly, and Benava is the Minister of Urban Development and Ports. In fact, she is spending $650 million to build a modern port which we will open in May next year. And Shakel Bob, who is Parliamentary Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, who is dealing a lot with the youths of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I want to recognize someone from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a strong Labour man, a real comrade. James P. I don't know if you know him, James P. He's standing up there. He's a cultural ambassador for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which gives him the honor to carry a diplomatic passport. He is living here in St. Lucia with his wife. He's a phenomenal performer in the popular field of soca. There's an elderly gentleman here who lived in Leyu on the western side of St. Vincent for 17 years. He came there and looked for a woman named Hannah. I want to say that if Flambeau is listening, I want them to realize the whole of we love up and we love up one another. And if it burn them, so be it. The Unity Labour Party and its predecessor, the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Labour Party, has had strong fraternal links with the St. Lucia Labour Party from the earliest days. And those relations have continued. They're relations of love, of caring, of solidarity. I have been very honored to have served as Prime Minister in the 21st century with three persons who are present here. Kenny Anthony, our dear brother Stevenson King, and Philip Pierre, and for a short while, in the third coming of John Compton, and for another person whose name I wouldn't really mention, you know who I'm talking about. I want to thank my brother on Saint-Hilaire for his introduction. And from his introduction, you may form the view that I've been around such a long time that I must have played with Isaac, son of Abraham, in Galilee and on the streets of Jerusalem. I have only been a political activist for 56 years. And I ain't done yet. I ain't done yet. As a young man, I was a rebel because there was, from the time I was a youth, a lot to be rebellious about. I'm now an old man, but I'm still a rebel. And I cannot stop being a rebel because there are many things still to rebel about. Although we have made immense progress in our Caribbean civilization, there are things which we still need to address. We are small island developing states with vulnerabilities, inherent vulnerabilities. And in an age of rampaging man-made climate change, those vulnerabilities are more problematic. And despite our strengths and possibilities, we have weaknesses and limitations. And the contemporary political economy is very unfair to small island developing states. And the wars in the Ukraine and Gaza and Lebanon and elsewhere, and the conflicts generated by imperialism and those in quest of hegemony affect us intimately. Raise prices of commodities, disrupt chains of supply. And then, of course, we suffer from historic legacies of underdevelopment, of native genocide and the enslavement of African peoples, and the travails of indentured labor from India and Madeira. For the native genocide and the enslavement of African bodies committed by European nations, we demand reparations. We are living in an increasingly dangerous world. Neoliberalism, a newer form of imperialism. They tell us that the central contradiction in the global political economy is between those who support democracy and those who support autocracy. That the central contradiction is between democracy and autocracy. Well, we are democratic societies, and we always choose democracy. But the way we see it, the central contradiction is not between democracy and autocracy. It has been, it is, and we have to fight against it. The central contradiction is about who gets what, when, where, and how. And those in the imperial centers of the world, never mind their sweet talk, never mind their double talk, never mind the attempt to send the fool a little further. Make no mistake, we have a struggle on our hands. And we can only fight this battle if internally the progressive forces are united. And if also we link ourselves with progressive forces in the region and globally, so that we can find the requisite space to have the resources and the opportunities to enhance our sustainable development in our people's interests. The different phases of the struggle, from when I was a young rebel to now an older rebel. I'm a wiser rebel. I remember some of the earlier days less complicated, still problematic, but less complicated. I know, for instance, after the Grenada Revolution in March 1979, 45 years ago, several of us were banned from going to this or that country. You know, I was invited to St. Lucia in May 1979 to speak at an event organized by the Workers' Revolutionary Movement. You remember that? WRM, with Bousquet and Poyot. I had been recently banned from entering. Well, I arrived in Antigua and they didn't allow me to stay. They put me back on the next plane. But the St. Lucia authorities at the time, the government headed by John Compton, I was teaching at the university, wrote me a nice letter. They said, well, we know you've been banned in places. And if you come to St. Lucia, we're not going to allow you in. So we tell you in advance, don't bother come. Everybody, Stevenson, was very, very frightened in those days of socialism. Of course, the wheels of history turn. And in July, you were successful. The Labour Party. And I was a special guest, 33 years old, when you had your first rally after that magnificent victory in July 1979. Place more complicated now. The alliances, you need to be more careful how you construct them. We have certain paths we can follow. We can, for instance, roll over and play dead. That is not the way of labor. There's an alternative in St. Lucia. If the people want to roll over and play dead to imperialism, hegemony, and the unfairness of the global order, they can get that. There's that option. There's that option. It is true that flambeau illuminates, but only for a short distance. But those who are not supposed to hold that torch, there's karma, it burns them, and it burns those who get too close. We have to have different paths. We have to enjoin creative resistance and the building of a different and better society. Not to roll over and play dead, but strategically, we have to do things through the prism of our own eyes and our own circumstances. Occasionally, tactically, we have to make compromises. Because if we go into the mountaintop, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. But you can't climb a mountain in a straight line. You have to take zigs and you have to take zags. But one thing for sure, when you take in the zigs and zags, you mustn't end up in a dead end. You mustn't be in a cul-de-sac. You must go there knowing that that is a temporary movement because you're on your way to the mountaintop. And one thing for sure, we can't turn back. We have to go forward. There are people in St. Lucia and in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and other parts of the Caribbean and in the United States of America right now, birds of the same feather. Some of them are American trumps, some are tropical trumps. They look forward to the past. Well, if you look forward to the past, clearly your future is behind you. And the sad thing about this matter is that they look forward to a past which is an illusion. They will tell you that St. Lucia was in a better place before July the 26th, 2021. Well, the reason why you changed them so authoritatively is because you were overwhelmingly dissatisfied with what was happening there. Stephenson King knows it well. You have a man chosen by the founding father of the UWP, a faithful son of that party. And from the time he got the leadership, different forces allied to the local bourgeoisie and certain foreign elements. I don't know about Stephenson King, if it's because we come from or where. They start to hold on to each other's foot like a rabid dog and pull him and pull him and pull him. The poor man can't function. You know that better than I do. In this complicated and dangerous period, we have a special responsibility to keep labor in office in places like St. Vincent and the Grenadines and St. Peter. What does it mean to be part of a labor family? What does it mean? You have to have beliefs. You have to have a vision. You have to have a philosophy. You have to have policies. And you have to have programs. You have to have men and women and the appropriate organization to carry forward the vision, the philosophy, the policies, and the programs in the interest of people. The first belief, and I listened very carefully to the pastor, the labor family believes, and every day we reaffirm our belief in the supremacy of God and the freedom and dignity of man and woman. Our vision is that which is centered on people. Our philosophy is a universal philosophy of social democracy applied to our own appropriate circumstances. We hold there that there is something called a Caribbean civilization, which has come through the fever of history and through the process of creolization in our own seascape and landscape. We have fashioned a functioning civilization, our own, of which there is a magnificent St. Lucian component. And our duty is to further enhance the ennoblement of that civilization. But there are people who will tell you in this Caribbean that there's nothing of real value which has come from us. We have Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Authority. They want to get the United States of America regulators to regulate our air transport. And when the Americans told the tropical Trump that they don't do things like that, they say go to Trinidad. And when the Trinidadians say, well, we can do it, we got to pay us plenty money. He back like a soldier crab. Yes. University of the West Indies is not of any quality for such people. Our priests, our pastors who have come out from the bowels of the people know you cannot have a philosophy and a leadership based on denigrating everything which comes out of our Caribbean civilization. There are those who tell you, forget what has happened before. Forget the past. Forget the past. Don't dwell in anything there. Well, we are all time. Yet only the future is ours to desecrate. The present is the past. And the past is largely our father's mischiefs. Largely. And if you have a leadership, a party, forces which continue to seek to erase or mutilate our history, you can be well assured that they can never take you to an uplifting future. They will always desecrate our future. Our life, our experiences, and what has happened in other parts of the world have taught us these things. So, Labour family, we have to believe in something. We have to have a philosophy. We have a vision. We have the appropriate policies and programs, as we saw on the video screen, a summary. Those are the things which would help to make a paradigm shift in the condition in which we have found ourselves, to make things better for our people, especially the poor and the working people, the marginalized, women who have been suffering, persons with disabilities, the elderly, the most lowly among us. We have always got to uplift them. That is what a Labour family is about. The program of a Labour family, the philosophy of a Labour family, the policies of a Labour family. If you read the 3 parables in the book of Matthew chapter 25, you find them. You remember those? You know them 3 parables? The first one about the 6 foolish virgins and the 6 wise virgins. The first thing you learn from that, the wise virgins, they planned. You know, they were looking for husbands. They put a little oil in the lamp. They planned. That is why from days in the past to today, you hear the Sankey song in all the homes. Put a little oil in your lamp, keep it burning. Put a little oil in your lamp, I say. Put a little oil in your lamp, keep it burning. Keep it burning till the break of day. You have to plan. That's the first thing. I said, my comrades, can you smiling? The philosophy is there, you know. The second parable, the parable of the talents. You know, talents were given out, 1, 5, and 10. And those who had more talents, they multiplied the talents. They put those talents to good use. The one who had the 1 talent, he buried it. And when the master came, the parable, the Lord came. He said proudly, I have it here, I'm going to dig it up for you. He was rebuked. Now I want everybody to hear me this. Government can't walk on water. You can't build houses with talk. You have to build houses with hands and with talents and with resources. And in a Labour family, we do not eat the bread of idleness. We must develop our talents. Somebody who tell you when Labour is in office, well boy, I come from a depressed place, and so don't let anybody tell you you don't have any talents. You have talents. Put it to use. Don't eat the bread of idleness. We have the youth empowerment programs here. The various agencies set up for those purposes. That's the second of the parables. The third parable is dividing between the sheep and the goats. You know that one? And that is where the love of Labour comes out. If your neighbor is in need of shelter and food, you got to help. If your brother is in prison, do not turn away from him. You have to visit him and help him. If the person is poor, we must help. And all of us who are in this dangerous road to Jericho, we must not do like the Levite. We must not do like the priest. We must not do like the lawyer. Where there's the wounded and the robbed. Each of us has to help up. bind up the wounds, take that person to an inn, metaphorically, and see that they come to safety. That is the way of the Labour family. And then, you know, I'm coming to this. Great leaders like Kenny and Philippe, they make history, but only to the extent that the circumstances of history permit them so to make. Part of those circumstances are what we have inherited from the past, and part of that, what we meet. We don't make history in self-selected circumstances. What that means, the leader cannot be allowed by you, and you must not expect it, for him to work miracles. You have to be in communion with the leader, and the leader in communion with you. The leader will show energy and will. The leader will show vision and skill. He would be fearless. The great leader would be fearless. He would be of courage. He would be bold. And he or she will seek to get the best out of you. Not just to inspire you, but to draw out good things from you. Oftentimes to draw out good things, quality things, things of nobility, which you may not as yet know that you possess. But you just can't sit down and wait for the leader to do things. You have to be doing things also yourself. Remember, I just talked to you about Matthew chapter 25. So you can't be selfish and in disunity and without any social solidarity. The second most important commandment is love your neighbor as you love yourself. Difficult to do. The first one is to love the Lord thy God and don't have any graven images. This issue of good neighborliness, of solidarity, of looking out for one another is of paramount importance in the Labour family. And what the Labour family cannot say, that if they don't get 2 sheets galvanized in time, or if the daughter ain't get the job which they think they should get, that you start to fuss and cuss and carry on. Me now vote again. If you do that, you're allowing the space for persons who do not have the belief, the vision, the philosophy, the policies, and the programs like the Labour family to come into office. And some of you, some of us, want to behave like Samson. We pull the temple down on everybody's head, including our own. At any one time, there could only be one leader. In the breasts of a lot of men and women, they would want to be prime minister. It's a worthy ambition. But there could only be one at a time. And we can't fight like crab in a barrel for it. There are established procedures for this to be done. And we mustn't have factions and divisions. You know, my brother Saint Hilaire in introducing me, I'm making him a saint. I'm about to send his name to the Holy Father. He recounted how we have functioned in St. Vincent's. I've been Prime Minister for just about a year short of 25 years, a quarter century. Unbroken. I have never had to fire a minister, and no minister has ever resigned from my government. None. Because the things that I talk about here, these simple things about the labor family, those are the things which I try to teach our comrades. Look, we will have dissatisfactions. Listen, we can't make perfection the enemy of the good. The only place we are not going to have any dissatisfaction is when we leave this earthly city and go to Beulah land. In Beulah land, there is perfection. But now, we have challenges, and dissatisfactions will help us to look for solutions to lift the quality of our lives and living and production higher. But as soon as you get a dissatisfaction, you don't start to grumble, you don't start to complain. Go up on Facebook, call in on radio station, start to use your vote as a weapon. That is not the labor way. We have to work together in unity, in solidarity, in faith, in hope, and in love. And you know the meaning of faith. Faith is the substance of things which we hope for, the evidence of that which we have not yet seen. And love is an ever-fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. You know, when I was listening to some persons talking about Philip, the injunction of the prophet Micah came to my head. What is required of us? To do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with our God. I heard the words about he's a good man. He's a humble man. He's a just man. The ordinary people on the street talk that. It comes straight out of the book of the Hebrew prophet Micah. And through your vote, Philip J. Perry has been proclaimed the leader of this nation. And in the old days, the functions of the leader were those not only of leader, but he has to be prophetic and he has to see around corners. But he can only do it with your help, in unity, in solidarity, in faith, in hope, and in love. I'm talking to you about how the Labour family has to behave. I was disappointed in the Labour family in 2007 in St. Lucia. You had a very successful government under a most distinguished Prime Minister, Kenny Anthony. A titan of a leader. But you allow some space in your head. You want to look forward to the past. Compton come and tell you he's going to work a miracle. That he could walk and see. Well, the only man who ever walked and see is after the fourth watch, when Peter and the others, and they saw Jesus walking on sea. The choice in between Philip Pierre and Jesus, you know, if that is the choice, Philip lose hands down. But the choice is between let me call his name, Chastany. And you know why you turned away from that? Now some people may say that I shouldn't make that statement. Well, I saw a thing the other day, he put his mouth in my own business. You know? And this is a warning shot. Keep your mouth out of my business. Keep your mouth out of my business. You know what I mean? Do what you want to do and do what you want to say, but keep your mouth out of my business. Now, I know some of you will get swayed by critics. Listen, you're in this business. Philip and the Labour Party government going to have critics. But it's not the critic who counts. It is not the man and woman who tell you, who record what they think that the strong man stumbles, the leader stumbles. No. The credit belongs to the man who is inside of the arena, who has to face the problems and solve them. He's the man who has, in communion with you, the responsibility. You have a lot of critics, including some in the opposition, all over the Caribbean, when they oppose Labour parties. I ain't talking about the one in Jamaica. I got the name of Labour, but I ain't really a Labour party. That's a misnomer. I can say that too because they help in the opposition in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, so that's fine with me. You do that, I get a chance, I go see what I have to say too. The Labour parties, if you, in this period, and I repeat it, move away from the family, as some of you did with Labour under Kenny in 2007, you will drink the cup of bitterness because it has happened before. And it will happen again. You may say you ain't going to vote UWP and Chastany. Me go stay home. Well, if you stay home, that's one you're taking away. If you go and give the other side your vote, that's two. You take away one from Labour and you give them one. That's how the math go with the elections, you know. And those of you who are constituency leaders and representatives in constituencies, you have to make sure that this message resonates throughout the entire country. And don't underrate, there are people who are outside who want to do certain things in St. Lucia, just like they want to do in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. They will pour a lot of money into Chastany party, you know. You remember the last time when he came? They say, well, this man got plenty money, and he no money. And he could bring money. Well, we've been through that already. We over that. I come here today to talk to you, to give you my knowledge and experience. I am not just the longest serving Prime Minister in any government in the region. I'm the longest serving political activist. And I'm telling you this. You have something good going with Labour, the Labour family. In a number of different ways, it can change. I know they will come and tell you, give him a chance again. Government is not about a chance, you know. Government is not about a chance. If anybody want a chance, let them play the lotto. That is about chance, not government. And do not join anybody in looking forward to the past. We must understand the past, learn from it, and shape our present actions so that we do not desecrate our future. Philip Spear and the Labour Party, we have been this Labour family has been from the beginning very strong in the regional integration movement, and it continues. And we respect and embrace our Caribbean civilization of which we are part. St. Lucia has currently a very activist, independent foreign policy which delivers benefits to the people. St. Lucia under the Labour Party is not servile to any country. St. Lucia Labour Party, the Labour Party family here and in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we are friends of all and we strive for a better world. And we use our voices to make our interests and our concerns heard. There are some people may hope that we cannot, that we are so small, that we are insignificant. But we are here as stubborn as the heavens. We ain't going nowhere at all. And whether St. Lucia progresses, moves forward, and improve people's lives and living and production, it is how you, the people, remain in communion with the leadership and they with you. If not, there'll be very difficult days ahead, more than you can ever imagine. I have been Prime Minister with 5 Prime Ministers from St. Lucia. And I can speak commendably and more about Kenny and about Stevenson and certainly about Philip. Compton served only a short period in his 3rd coming while I was Prime Minister. That is all I will say about the 5 Prime Ministers with which I have served. That's all I will say. I identify those. Morning by morning, new mercies we see. All that we need, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness. Thank you.
Thank you, thank